Broadcasting live from the Wellness Wonderland, you're listening to the Wellness Wonderland Radio. I'm Katie, and each week I chat with the most inspirational people on the planet on how to stay inspired in all areas of life. As you listen, feel free to tweet at me at Katie Dalebout or use the hashtag Wellness Wonderland. I'd love to hear your aha moments. So grab your headphones and listen on the go, or cuddle up with a notebook as we dive in deep with authentic conversations right here in Wonderland. Welcome back to the Wellness Wonderland, everyone. I am so excited because today Joey and Persia of AddictiveDaughter.com are here. And if you're not familiar with them, they are the beautiful British duo who are redefining addiction and helping people get addicted to the good stuff. One blog post, video, and mentoring session at a time. They are so cool. They offer savvy self-help that will inspire you to get addicted to the good stuff. They're aimed at the 20-something fun crowd who wants to make healthier life choices. So they're removing that British stigma attached to self-help and making it fun and cool again, or for the first time, which is just really cool. So I am so grateful for their work in the world and the opportunity to just have a fun conversation with them today and get to know them. So they're staying up late with me to talk with me over the time change. So thank you so much for being here, you guys.
Hi.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Awesome. So let's just get started. Let's dive right in and tell Wonderland all about you guys. So if we could, I'd love to start with your individual stories and then kind of how you came together to create Addictive Daughter. Do you guys want to just get started there?
Yeah,
Definitely.
let's do it.
Okay, so individually, I guess, well, I'll speak for myself. I came from quite a conventional family, but was always
This
quite...
is Joey, by the way.
This is Joey, yeah. We should probably do Joey or Persia before each answer. So Joey came from quite a conventional family in the north of England and basically was quite a naughty teenager from sort of 12, 13, found alcohol, found boys, and was just quite rebellious. And it really went from there for me. I had a lot of fun, but it was quite a destructive way of living. And by the time I went to drama school at 18, I moved to London on my own, and I got a place at a school called Drama Centre because I was really keen to train as an actress. And I guess from that point on, my partying sort of spiraled. And actually, Drama Centre is where I met Persia. You'll be hearing her story shortly. But I suppose for me, the problem started when I graduated, because all of a sudden I had no structure. So from having sort of, almost a 12-hour day scheduled in, suddenly I was without structure, without any acting work a lot of the time when I first came out of drama school. And I just went a little bit crazy, really. And Persia, do you want to?
I'll come in here. So, I, on the other hand, I grew up in quite a crazy family. I was born and bred in London, and my parents both came from actually alcoholic families themselves, quite dysfunctional and destructive things kind of happened for each of them. And my parents actually met in Amsterdam, and it was crazy drama, fell in love straight away, got pregnant with my sister, then me, so came back to London. And then my dad kind of was trying to make property stuff happen, property business, which he started to do well in. And what was happening is, they became very addicted to drugs, and we grew up in this quite kind of crazy, it was quite a crazy, intense childhood. But I was always very much, a way that I dealt with it was to work really, really hard at school and to try and get all the lead roles in any plays and singing songs. It was a way of, I always wanted to have validation. And so when I came of age to discover boys, which was, I did get there pretty young, that was a way for me to kind of get this love and validation that I really had been craving. for a long time, and so I did. And whilst life at school, I was still a student, big high achiever. I'd started drinking, and relationships with boys started to become more and more destructive the older I got. And ironically, it was when my parents both went into rehab, they completely turned their lives around. And I really saw, the whole idea of getting addicted to the good stuff, when they took that energy that they'd been using to kind of focus on negative things, they took that and they put it to positive means. Our whole family life completely changed. And then I went off to university, read English literature. But the problem was, and I also lived in Canada as part of my university in Vancouver Island. But the problem was, because I hadn't healed from my childhood, I hadn't kind of dealt with what had gone on. So when I came after finishing university, I then went to drama school, which is where I met Joey, and was carrying on with the partying and the validation stuff, the drinking, and then had by this point it was quite into drugs, and suddenly, because like Joey, I didn't have this firm structure after we graduated. I didn't have a way of proving that I was great at something, because acting work was kind of coming in ebbs and flows. Things just started to really fall apart. My relationships, really had been quite awful to a lot of my boyfriends. And then I was getting more and more drawn to kind of crazy, addicted men. One of my ex-boyfriends I met in Russia, and he was crazy Russian actor, all sorts of adventures. But my life just started really kind of falling apart, to be honest. And me and Joey, this was kind of happening at the same time. And then one day last year, we were both, funnily enough, going out with two blokes at this time who were both addicts who'd been in rehab. And we both got dumped on the very same day by these two blokes, and we didn't know about it because we were kind of in a weird stage of our friendship at that time. And kind of from that moment, I remember calling Joey and saying, I don't know what to do. I'm dumped. No, this has never happened before. I don't know what to do. I'm just such a mess. I'm completely heartbroken. And she said, well, I've kind of been broken up with, as well. And we worked out it was on the same day. And then from that moment, we kind of thought, we can't go back into the old patterns. We can't just go out and get wasted and find new blokes to distract ourselves. Like, something has to change.
Because fundamentally, I think for both of us, even though we're from very different backgrounds, the thing that was missing was self-worth.
Yeah.
And what it all comes down to, I think, at the end of the day, for a lot of women, sort of looking for validation in, things outside yourself, whatever that might be. And that was a big thing for us. And I think it was at that point last year when we were both in a really low place and we came together and we realised we had to make some massive changes in the way that we were, kind of trying to make ourselves feel happy, because it wasn't working. And it was clear, it really kind of bottomed out for both of us. And that's really where it all began, the amazing journey of Addictive Daughter.
Yeah, and what had been really fortunate, when we look back, it's amazing looking back at the journey, because we start to see how the timing, was just so ridiculously perfect, because going out with my ex-boyfriend, who is an addict, had gotten me into something called Al-Anon, which is for the friends and family of alcoholics and addicts. And basically it's a 12-step program, and absolutely incredible. It's anyone who has any kind of codependent issues, and really struggling with self-worth, struggling with who they are, kind of caught up in negative patterns of behavior that go beyond just drinking drugs. It might be negative thinking, not believing that you're worth anything. We had been learning, and actually when me and Joey kind of spoke to each other and had been both broken up with, I took her along to one of these meetings, and I remember we sat next to each other, and Joey was just like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to have heard all my life. I've been waiting to hear this all my life. This is where I'm meant to be. Like, it was just like an aha moment. And so we had this kind of network and this support, and that's where we learned all these principles that we've kind of learned. And that's where it all began.
Wow. Katie, we're sort of thinking, we kind of want to, in a way, use some of the ideas from the 12 steps, because they are spiritual principles, and make them cool and make them relevant, you know, to young people, because they've helped us so much. We draw inspiration from so many wonderful people, yourself included, across the globe now. But that was really the starting point for us, I think.
Wow. It's really cool to hear that backstory told from you guys and from your perspective. And it's one thing to read it on the site, and it's another thing to hear you guys talk about it. And it's really funny for me. What's coming up is how the lowest of lows can lead to such great things. You know, they say that like the biggest bottoms are where the good stuff comes from. You know, it's like you've got to have the bad days to make the good ones good. And I think that Addictive Daughter is just such a something that proves that. You know, it's really awesome that you guys have taken what you've gone through, and clearly that has all been for a reason, which has culminated in this amazing project. So I think your authenticity in sharing what you've been through has been crucial to switching this around and making it something so positive for the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess that kind of brings me to the next thing I wanted to talk about with you guys, which really is just that authenticity. And what I talk about it a lot here in Wonderland, about how it's so crucial for happiness. And I know you guys have spoken about it before on video and on your platform. So I would love to have you guys talk about it a little bit here, of why being who you are is so important.
Good question. Yeah, I think, gosh,
I think the thing is, both myself and Joey, if you had seen us back in the day in our heyday, not really, we would have said to you, you would have said to us, you would have seen us go, actresses, not bad looking, they got boyfriends, they seem to be very self-confident, they know who they are, strong women. And so that was the facade we were putting out to the world, and we told ourselves that that's who we were. We were these people, and we felt great about ourselves. But deep down, you know, when our ego was biggest, and I definitely someone to put my hands up and say, have had a massive ego, which all my life. But that served me. There was a time that I needed that, because I felt so bad about who I really was deep down inside. And that was all linked to, you know, my parents' addiction, because when you're a child doesn't understand what addiction is. A child just says, Mum and Dad, you know, are past that. They don't, you know, they don't love me. It's me. It's my fault. So it was very linked to that for myself. And yeah, so being who we were, we didn't know who we were. We put on a show. It was all a show. And of course, going into acting kind of really is just the funniest thing, because we were desperate to find identity, and we didn't want to be ourselves, did we? Because I want to be any other character. I want to be anyone but myself. And we all validation came from external things, like Joey said earlier. Our social life, who we were friends with, what we wore, where we hung out. And suddenly, here we are on a Skype call to you, and it's a Friday evening in London. There are parties we could have gone to, and yet we're doing something that we actually believe in, and it makes us happy. And, you know, it's not about, it's not about what we look like and how cool we are. And that's been a really bloody big journey, actually.
The parties are right here.
Exactly. Woohoo! That's for sure. I mean, I couldn't agree more, and I would say that even being inauthentic, and it's funny that you bring up the points about, you know, why you guys were drawn to acting, but it's draining being inauthentic, right? I mean, my mentor, who I know that you guys love and admire as well, Gabrielle Bernstein, talked about recently a situation where she was at some event and she was doing something, and I don't even remember what it was, but pretty much she was not being her authentic self, that place within all of us that's the same for everybody, that place where we really are deep down, that's never changed since we were 10 years old to when we were 15 to now. And she wasn't in that place. She was acting from her ego. And she said that the next day she woke up and it felt like a hangover. She was so drained after that experience that it felt like her drug addict days where she was literally hungover. So, it's so true. I've been in those situations where, maybe it hasn't been that extreme, but I've been, having to be fake or to be a certain way with a group of people, and it just doesn't feel good. And so I think that's why this intense authenticity is crucial for happiness and crucial to do great things in the world. So I think...
Speaking of hangovers, Katie, you just reminded me of something that Brené Brown talks about with her vulnerability hangovers.
Absolutely.
Speak about that, but I find sometimes, we're so keen to kind of put up defenses and put these fronts on, and actually it's the yielding of, of sort of being vulnerable and trying to speak your truth. And it's almost like it feels so hard sometimes just to sort of let everything be stripped back. But when you do it, it feels effortless in a way and easy when you manage to get there. You fight so much with these sort of facades and putting things out, these veneers, and like you said, it's draining. But the opposite of that, once you master it, and we're still very much on the journey of mastering it, but it's something much gentler.
And when you're in that position, when you find yourself a bit like Gabby, you find yourself in that position where you're being fake, or you feel like you have to be, and it's really blooming uncomfortable. I would stay there. When we were back in the day, I would stay in that place. I would stay around those people or in those situations that made me feel that. Now I get the hell out of them as soon as I can, because of course it's going to come up sometimes. But we found like some old friendship groups, and I still love a lot of those people dearly. Like I will always love them, but where I am with my life and where they're with their life, it doesn't. We don't really have stuff to talk about anymore because they don't want to talk about the sort of stuff that we talk about, and it can be quite awkward. And I remember I really grieved that for a while, and actually now I think both of us got to a place of surrender and acceptance, and it's detaching with love. People move on and in different places, but I don't want to sit there and be fake. And I don't think, they don't really want to sit there and be fake either. If they don't want to talk to us about, Addictive Daughter or what's going on, it can be, it's interesting. It's interesting.
It's funny when you make changes, because I think we thought at the beginning, gosh, we relied so much, and it was that there were suddenly a lot of friends who we were no longer, participating in the same activities of going out and doing all-nighters and that sort of thing. But actually we've both realised that it's been quite a gradual kind of, people just drift out of your life, or you drift out of theirs. It's never had to, I think for the most part, we've never had to have any kind of purposeful conversations with friends where we're no longer close. It just sort of very gradually happens when you make changes. People are maybe, new people are drawn in, and other people kind of just gently drift away, and it's quite a gentle process. And I guess we have grieved it a little bit because it's changed, but it's, I guess, been necessary as well.
Yeah, and it probably, a lot of that has to do with the fact that when you were in that place that they might still be in now, you were coming from your ego and they were coming from their ego, and you really weren't being your authentic self when you were friends with them. So the whole friendship as a whole might not have even been something that actually served the two of you. So
exactly. Of course, at the time you think, when you're in it, you think it is, but look back, what productive came out of there. I often would come away and just feel not good about myself. But before you've kind of learned, or you started to change, or to learn, or to hear these, to realize there's a different way of living, you don't know any better. So you just live in ego. You have no idea that you're living in that's what's going on, but that is what's going on. And that's what's holding you back and making you unhappy. But awareness is, until you have the awareness, you can't change anything.
Absolutely. Awareness is key. And I think that was crucial in you guys turning your lives around. So I'd love to zoom the lens back a little bit and talk about where you guys are now and what you love about your lives now. We talked a lot about where you've been and kind of what your past was like, but I'd love to hear the contrast here with how your lives are structured now.
Well, firstly, as we said, it's a Friday night and it's 22 p.m. and both of us are sitting on Joey's bed, talking to your lovely self,
Oh.
and my former self would have kind of literally been absolutely horrified at, why are you not out? Like, it's Friday night, go and do something. You're in London, blah, blah. And now I'm like, I'm having fun. I know I'm going to wake up tomorrow, know how. I'm going to a 12-step meeting and then meeting a friend for tea. I get to hang out with my best friend. If we've got a problem or we feel a bit funny with each other, which of course working together and being best friends, that's inevitable at times. We courage to say it now and be able to be more honest with each other instead of just kind of sulking or whatever, having passive aggressive type behavior, which is amazing.
I think a huge thing for both of us is that we've always been ambitious girls, and back in the day, we were the ones at 5 a.m. at a house party on the second or third bottle of wine telling everyone how what our future was going to be, and the dreams of the acting or whatever it was, we were going to take over the world, and then of course you spend the next day in bed and forget all about everything you'd said until people
Yeah.
And I think the changes now, if you kind of do zoom out, as you said, is that we're actually getting shit done. And that's something that was not happening a few years ago. We spoke about it a lot, but we really put little into action. Whereas this week we've had an amazing week. Addictive Daughter, we've had some really incredible meetings. We've been so busy. We just wish there was more hours in the day, and we're feeling so purposeful.
Yeah, and fulfilled, which is really nice, because I remember sitting in my flat when I was back in the acting days after drama school, and just sitting there on Wednesday morning watching this show called Jeremy Kyle, which I believe has actually made its way over to the States now. And I just sit there and kind of just like, sit on my arse all day with doing nothing and waiting for my agent to call. It was just so unfulfilling, and it valued myself by, oh well, I must be a crap person, I must not be worth anything, because why am I not acting, or why am I not doing something? And actually it turns out that just wasn't the path that I was meant to be on, right? It wasn't the calling. And now it's amazing. I think that's the biggest thing for us, that we found the thing that gives our life meaning. And there's something, some people are meant to go into the acting world and do amazing things, and there is something for everyone. And I think it's about finding your purpose, and I think a big part of Addictive Daughter is that we've been able to kind of to find that and run with it, and it feels just bloody great, to be honest. And it's really, I think that's probably one of the key things that we want to other fellow addictive daughters who may be going through a bit of a quarter life crisis, 20 something, that's the thing that we'd really like to get a message to them is, we know we've got a lot of amazing friends who are very like us, and they're kind of there's a big in Britain at the moment, there's a big feeling of change that's coming. Like, people have had enough, they are miserable. There's constantly binge drinking, particularly with women, constantly in the papers, and everyone is just starting to have enough and go, there's got to be another way. I can't keep going down this path anymore, which is where we were last year. So change is in the air, and I think that's it. We know that those girls, as in the same way that we do, they will have a calling, they will have a purpose, and when they get onto that path of looking after themselves, discovering who they are and what their authentic self is, their calling will just happen. It will just come to them. You don't have to go out and look for it. It will come to you. And I think that's a really big message that we want.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's like that quote, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I think everything you need in that other Yogi Bhajan poem where he says, if you need a million things will reach you if you just be you. Well, we were just talking about how when you find your purpose, you can really connect in with who you really are and start to do great things in the world. And you guys were talking a little bit about how acting for you kind of launched you into this, but it was a way for you to not be who you actually are. And I just think it's kind of funny, because I was going to come to this point and just tell you guys how articulate and amazing and adorable the two of you are on video, and using that as your platform. And I was going to kind of ask you why you guys decided to do that, but it's really clear to me that this is such a great example of everything happens for a reason, because
totally.
you guys have such great skill with what you developed from your acting careers and from your schooling and that, I would suspect. And maybe you wouldn't have been led there if you didn't want to cover something up and you didn't want to be someone else. So it's just kind of funny how those things work.
It's so funny how all these things, and before I went to it, everything is linked in so crazily perfectly, because before drama school, I went to I did my English literature degree, which has been obviously very useful for Addictive Daughter for writing purposes. And both Joe and myself had also been doing mentoring, tutoring, things like that. You know, this is before Addictive Daughter, having no idea that we'd end up doing this, but all the skills that we've been trained in over our lives have kind of perfectly complemented and tied into Addictive Daughter.
It's so funny. And you know, at the time, when things go wrong, when shit hits the fan, it's so hard to see where the gems might be. And you know, when we first, you know, like when we mentioned last year, when everything went very wrong with our kind of addict partners, there was no way of us foreseeing then what that could have led to, and look where we are. And it is that thing of, sometimes I think you've just got to hold on and have the faith, just move through whatever you're going through. But often in hindsight, you do see and you go, wow, that had to happen, you know, because it led me here.
Yeah. The minute you say, I believe there is something game changing when you're in a painful, dark place and you say, I want things to change. I am willing to do what it takes. You know, universe, God, whatever you want to call, even if you don't believe in that, whatever, just put out there outside of yourself that I want things to change. And I believe that things come to you. They just do, as they're meant to. But you have to have the willingness to want it, and to want to reach your potential. And
what can you learn from every situation? I guess, what can you learn?
I mean, it's when you make that shift where every situation is either happening as you want, or if it's not, there's a lesson to be learned there. And I know that for me, it's when something's not going right, I have this new mindset where it's just, okay, there's something to be learned here. Great. You know, I'm ready to learn it. I'm open to learn it. Teach me so I can move on from this. And I think that was a huge shift in my life.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Well, I want to talk now about the thing that has been through this entire conversation so far. You guys keep alluding to last year and a year ago at this time. And that, to me, is crazy that you've come this far in just a year. It's really like amazing, and I want to like commend you guys for that. But I would have thought that you've been on this path for much longer. So I think that right there can be really inspiring to someone, how quick things can turn around.
I think it's the nature being an addictive daughter.
Yeah, when you want to get shit done, like, it happens quickly. That's the thing.
Last summer, I guess, you know, for me, after the two breakups which took place in kind of May last year, right?
Yeah,
May 2012. So I guess we're moving on for almost 2 years now. Moving towards that point. But you know, we really had an intensive period that summer it was kind of like, you know, a DIY rehab that we
made our own rehab for ourselves.
We really went headlong into it, and we read so much. We found out about some amazing people who are doing some amazing work across the globe, and just really threw ourselves into it. And I guess that's sort of the intensity of someone with an addictive personality, maybe.
We kind of became obsessed by changing and discovering this whole new world had opened up to us. And bearing in mind that it's funny because seeds had obviously been planted. You know, I'd seen my parents go to rehab. 12 steps had been a talk in my house ever since I can remember, but I wasn't ready for it then. And the first time I ever actually, it kind of really started the story. Me and Joey were living together for a period, a while after we graduated from university.
Drama school.
Drama school, that's it, sorry. And 2010 was the year that both of us were our biggest mess. I mean, I was kind of doing acting work all over the globe, but I was kind of having very toxic relationships with men. Joey, you had a bad breakup,
very bad relationship. Was in a very despondent place, drinking a lot, and then had a sort of succession of men on the go.
Yeah, the one night stands, the drugs, like everything. That was our year of excess hedonism, craziness.
Persia positively ballooned.
I put on 2 stone in about 2 months when I was doing an acting job in China. I mean, things were not good. Joey got acne. Riddled with acne.
We were basically, outwardly manifesting what was going on within. It was not cool at all.
It was not good.
Quite distressing.
And what happened was, because I put all this weight on, my dad, in a really loving way, said, darling, how would you feel about going to a colonic retreat in Thailand? Mm-hmm. And I'd actually been with him for a few years before, and I said, okay, free holiday to Thailand, I'm in. And I took the hint. I needed to lose the weight, and I needed to lose it fast because my acting career wasn't going so well. And just before I went, literally the day before I went, I was at one of my oldest friend's house, and I was sitting on her bed with her, and across on her bookshelf, this book just jumped out at me, this title, and it was Women Who Love Too Much by Robin Norwood. And I remember thinking, that's a crap title, how rubbish. Anyway, I went over and I picked this book up. I don't know why. I opened it just on a random page, and the sentence that jumped out at me was, it said something like, the daughters of addicts are very predisposed to becoming addicts or codependent themselves. And then it went on to list, if a daughter of addict is very likely to have issues around food, around drink and drugs, but mainly around men. And the big thing for me all my life, I've basically had an issue with staying faithful. I've cheated on, every boyfriend I've had because I was really afraid of commitment. It was a way, that was kind of my addictive behavior. It was using, it was kind of a way of stopping intimacy. And so when I read this, I was like, blimey. And anyway, my friend said, Al with you. And I read this book, and it talked about Al-Anon, this 12-step fellowship. And, it was saying basically, you've got to go. And I got back and I went. And then a couple of months later is when I ended up going out with my ex-boyfriend, who's an addict, he was in recovery at the time. And it was like, I came into my life because my parents by this time were sober, but I wasn't ready to really kind of let go of the childhood and deal with it. And it was like he was almost given to me as a gift for me to work through that stuff. In the same way for Joey, we've both been given, I think, relationships for us kind of, we started Addictive Daughter because of heartbreak, and relationships have been the most important and biggest and kind of most challenging aspect for us. And so for me today, when you're going back to the question you said earlier about what's changed, for me, I've now been with my boyfriend for over a year. This is it's the most fulfilling, healthy, amazing relationship. And he's not an addict, which is completely insane. I haven't had a boyfriend who's not been an addict for a long time. And I think our attitudes around relationships and how we behave in them has completely changed. And when something isn't working or there's problems, we now confront them instead of living in denial.
That's amazing. You guys are so inspiring and just have come so far. So talking a little bit more about that word, addiction, and being an addict, and you guys say that you love addicts, and addiction can be like an arrow. If you point it at your foot, it's bad, but if you point it somewhere good, like Addictive Daughter, it can be so unbelievably good. So could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's really interesting, actually. We've been discussing earlier today. We've had a lot of people say, I don't think it's really possible to get addicted to the good stuff, because essentially addiction's it's a very dangerous and very negative thing. And essentially what we were saying before is that an addiction, begins as a habit. Any behavior that you engage in, and yes, destructively, if you're looking at kind of substance, for example, it's something that can get out of control, and you have a dependency on it, and it grows into an addiction. But it's a habit, and in the same way, we have addictive personalities. I think a lot of people do. And it's saying, listen, if you've got an addictive personality, it's not necessarily, it could be very difficult to completely eliminate that as part of your personality. But surely it's better to get addicted to healthy habits, you know, that come from a place of love.
Yeah.
Towards yourself, you know, things that help you look after yourself.
And by doing that, therefore, it's a positive influence on the world, because if you're looking after yourself and taking care of yourself, naturally the next thing that happens is you're going to go and do something good in the world, because that love overflows and it spills out, and you want to direct it, and you want other people to experience what you're experiencing.
Yeah,
absolutely. So something else that I'm curious about with you guys, and I honestly, I could just listen to your cute British accents all day, but with the cultural differences between over here in the States and over where you guys are, is it really, would you guys say that the stigma attached to self-help is different over there than it is even here?
Definitely.
Yes, big styly.
British people do not want to talk about their problems.
No. We like to just pretend that they're not happening, and we kind of want escapism all the time. So we read Grazia magazine, or we drink, or we take drugs. We push the problems down, and of course it doesn't.
That's really interesting to me.
Temporary plaster over. We're not very open people, Katie. I'm afraid. Like culture, we're not. There is still this whole upper lip mentality in England. Really struggle to get honest and with ourselves, let alone anyone else, and say, I need help, I'm having a problem, because we see that, I think we still kind of see that as weakness.
Right.
I think that I love the openness of the Americans. Of course, it's a generalization, but it's
right.
Quite true. And I think it goes without saying, you guys have people like Marie Forleo, Gabrielle Bernstein, your lovely self, doing incredible things, and there are people doing that in England, but no one really knows about them. There's kind of the stigma is still very much there, and that's what we really want to change and challenge, and say it is cool to look after yourself and love yourself and do something worthwhile with your life. Why is it cool to be miserable and to kind of carry on in self-destructive pursuits? Because that's what we kind of make out here, isn't it? That's the idea that we kind of sell to ourselves.
Definitely.
Absolutely. I mean, that it's really interesting to me that you guys say that, and I think I can relate a lot to what you're going through with wellness and self-love and self-help being not the norm where you are, because while it is prevalent here in the United States for sure, where I happen to live, it's not at all. And I kind of take that as an opportunity and just kind of say there's so much work for there to be done here. And I think that's kind of the opportunity that you guys have in your country, as they need you, you know, and they it's your right and it's your responsibility to share this work, because so many people need you, and I think that's awesome.
Definitely. Thank you. I think it's nice because we've kind of got the two, you know, we've got the self-help thing, and I think linking it with the sort of addictive personality or addiction, you know, we were kind of unsure, I guess, as to how it was going to be received, but all we knew is that we were coming from that place and we'd made these changes and our lives had improved, so we decided to sort of share what we knew. But yeah, I think it has to be a good thing, because at the end of the day, if you've got a problem with sort of destructive pursuits, which, to be honest, in Britain we definitely do. I think we've got the highest rate of female alcoholics in Europe now. So to say that there isn't an issue and there isn't an interesting attitude going on with, you know, women and alcohol in Britain is quite frankly a lie. But you know, I think it's but it's just like, you know, you've got to make it fun and appealing. It doesn't have to be a miserable thing.
Exactly.
And you don't want to make people feel bad about it. Like,
no, we don't want the most important thing we say is we don't want to shame people. And that is hard, because we have to really catch ourselves and go, we hope that we're not saying you can't drink, you can't, if you want to do drugs, you can do drugs, if you want to, whatever you want to do is all good. We just ask that you're really honest with yourself about how you feel about them. And the thing is, we know that it's reaching people because of the responses we can see on our website, like Google Analytics. When we put we wrote this article called How to Gain a Guy in 10 Ways, which was actually all about, you know, being the best that you can be, but it had a kind of catchy marketing title, and the figures obviously went up massively that day. But people often in England don't want to share or like, because it makes them look weak, and it makes me look like I'm desperate and I want a boyfriend. And we get loads of emails from people who kind of, or people take us aside at the pub if we go and meet a group of friends, and they say, I just think what you're doing is amazing, it's really helping me. But it's all very like, please don't tell anyone, please do not tell anyone I told you that.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
In America, people are much more open about saying it's aspirational, whereas here, what we're trying to do is challenge, get rid of the stigma and change things so it becomes aspirational to, it's so ridiculous. Aspirational to love yourself, to do what you want to do, to have healthy habits. But it's not like in England, that's not cool. That's not like how people.
But it will be.
It will be.
It will be. You guys are well on your way. That's really interesting to me, because I just didn't realize the contrast there. I really didn't. And so it's really cool to shed light on that a little bit, and know that we've got a leg up on our friends across the pond there. And I think we really need to help you guys make that cool. And I'm going to tweet and like as much as I can, because maybe it'll spawn some other people to do so too. That's really funny. That's really interesting. So I guess it's a nice segue too to my next question, which is going to be, what are your big picture goals for Addictive Daughter? Where do you like to see it in, say, 5 years or 10 years? And what would you like to be happening? I'm sure that one of the things is for the stigma to kind of melt away.
Yeah, definitely. That is the biggest goal, I think, is that we would see England catching up with our friends across the pond and changing, because I'm sure at some point America was in a more similar place to where we are now. I'm sure that they've changed a lot, and we want that to happen in England. We want there to be a massive shift in attitude, and that goes kind of hand in hand with attitude to addiction, because the thing is, there's issues around addiction and depression and our attitudes towards them because of the stigma. People don't understand them, so think negatively about them. So that's one thing we want to change. But also, it's mainly about self-help and looking after yourself and wellness. There's, I think in this country, there's that attitude of self-help is reserved for the middle-aged kind of frumpy woman in a bookstore hiding in the self-help aisle, weeping over you can heal your life or something like that. And actually, what we want to make it cool, accessible. We want to see people going out and doing amazing things, because we have this kind of vision of an army of addictive daughters. We're not for everyone. Addictive Daughter will appeal very specifically to a very specific type of girl, and that is like a girl like us, someone who has, she's got skills, she is independent, and got a lot of great things about her. Ambitious,
slightly obsessive,
probably very destructive, parties too much, toxic relationships, etc. But what she does have is she has an energy within her, and she knows she's always known since she was little that there's something about her, that there's something special, but she just doesn't quite know what it is. And she knows that she's meant to do something amazing in this life, but she's not quite sure what or how that's going to happen. And once she hopefully goes through the Addictive Daughter process and gets mentoring or kind of basically sorts her shit out, quite frankly, and therefore, when that happens, like with us, you stop being trapped by yourself. Stop holding yourself back and sabotaging. And whatever I think Gabrielle Bernstein often calls it like assignment is in the world. Maybe what's on your heart is to go and make schools in third world countries, or to go and develop kind of training programs, or whatever thing is your thing. You will then go and take that and do it in the world, and you will get it done because you have an addictive personality. So you will make sure you get it done, and and people will be drawn to that and attracted to it because you've got this kind of fizzing energy of I've got to get make something happen, and that's what we want to see. We want social change. That's
the big vision.
Yeah,
and I guess on a kind of smaller scale that could be slightly more monitored. We've got 2 books in production, which we haven't approached publishers with, to be honest, yet, because we want them to be really good. But we're writing 2 books. we've got we're already actually doing some exciting things in England with a couple of the females magazines. I don't know if you know about OK Magazine. Do you have that in America?
I think we do, yeah.
Yeah. So we've just done a feature in OK Magazine.
Nice.
All about kind of women and drinking, really, and trying to change attitudes. And we're regular columnists for a magazine called New Magazine as well,
which is very kind of celebrities. It's a celebrity type of magazine, and teenage girls reading this. So we've got this kind of called Sexy Savvy Self-Help. We basically went in with the we got ourselves into a meeting. Again, only an addictive daughter could do this, but wangled our way into a meeting with the marketing director, the managing director of this huge company, kind of what's it, advertising, and
yeah, basically they own a loads of magazines and TV channels. Yeah, and we had a meeting with him, pitched and said, look, we would really like to get our word out there. And he said, I believe in what you're doing. Column in one of your magazines, a regular column, and we got it. And you know, that's a great starting point, because for us at the moment it's about spreading the word.
Yeah.
We want as many women as possible to know about it.
Yeah.
And also we're also doing some quite exciting work with the Amy Winehouse Foundation, who are taking work into schools and speaking to young people about alcohol, about self-worth, you know, self-esteem. So we're involved in that as well, which is really great and lovely to be able to kind of meet young people and I guess get a little bit of instant kind of feedback's probably not the right word, but you know, you get to sort of share your experience with these young girls,
yeah,
and see how, you know, how it affects them, and how possibly by the time you leave at the end of that morning session, you've planted a seed which may be very useful for them in the years to come as they're growing up.
Exactly. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I would have loved for you guys to come into my school and talk to me and make this stuff cool, and I would have looked up to you and just lived my life modeled after the way you guys are living now. And I think it's just beautiful and transformational that you're doing this. And again, those placements, those beautiful, wonderful mainstream placements that you guys have gotten are really just a testament to the good work you're doing and the universe supporting that. And Gabby says in her God is My Publicist course, she mentions a lot, again, what I said before, which is just that when you're doing good work, it's not only your duty to share it, but your responsibility to share it and to get it seen. And that's what you guys are doing, you know, going into that meeting and getting it into the hands of the people who need to see it most, which is probably the people who aren't searching for it. So I know Gabby tells a story about her placement in Elle magazine, where she knew where her audience was, and they weren't in the self-help aisle, they were in the glossy fashion magazine, and that's where she knew she needed to be to reach them, because they were the seeker that didn't know they were a seeker. And I think that really speaks to your audience.
That's really interesting. We didn't know that she'd done that. But yeah, I mean, it's so true. Is a lot of people that they have no idea about self-help or how it might benefit. So yeah, it is reaching them.
Exactly.
And we're making a good start.
We've just quite recently done a documentary with Russell Brand and Davina McCall, who Russell Brand's, I think he's in Hollywood quite a lot. He was married to Katy Perry. He's a comedian, very funny. He actually went to our drama school. And anyway,
that's so cool.
Yeah, so again, it was another funny link, but the documentary was, what was it called? A Royal Hangover.
Yeah, A Royal Hangover.
And it's all about Britain and you know, our boozing and everything. So we've done some interviews with that, and also we're starting to talk all over the country. We're starting in a few weeks actually, and then next year we've got kind of tours at various well-being type things, and we're starting to do some talks in schools and hopefully universities too. And another thing we want to do, probably because we've got the background in acting, we like we feel comfortable on stage, we like talking, it's lovely being up there with your best friend, it's great. So we want to be coming to America and doing all talking and really traveling the world doing it and meeting different people and seeing how the message of getting addicted to the good stuff can spread all over the world, because of course addiction and people with addictive personalities are not just in England, they are all over the world. So
absolutely. Wow. Well, I am so on board, and I couldn't agree more. I want to be on stage right with you guys. I mean, this is amazing, and I love bringing this conversation to mainstream. That's my dream too. So this has been so cool. So now I really would love to get personal with each of you guys. Even this all has been pretty darn personal, but you guys ready for it?
Yeah.
I hope so.
Okay, cool. Well, I want to know, this is like my favorite question to ask, window into your lives. Can you guys each individually walk us through your morning routines? Maybe like the first 3 things you do when you wake up and the specifics of how you start your day and why that's important to how the rest of your day goes.
Okay. First 3 things.
For Joey, firstly.
For me, okay, so I have been inspired by Marie Forleo's. She's got this thing called NNT, non-negotiable time. And I always know when my life's going off track when I don't stick to my 3 non-negotiable time activities. And I can actually tell you what they are because they're on my ceiling above my bed.
I love that.
Persia didn't realise it's right above us. So I will read them to you, Katie. So my first NNT is a daily run / exercise and stretch. My number 2 is a proper breakfast with vitamins and a glass of water. Really important for me. I think it's something that I have to do every morning in order to start my day well, is to take time over eating my breakfast. And just to get my head in the right space before I turn my Mac on and start looking at Facebook and Twitter and all the madness, is just to have a little bit of time out for me. That's a really big one for me. And the third one, my third NNT is inspiration. So it says article, novel, vlog, meeting or meditation, and that has to happen daily. I have to do something to inspire myself no matter how busy I am. So yeah, I mean, they don't always happen all 3 in the morning. It depends on the schedule for the day, but there are 3 things that I really try to do on a daily basis because I know that it keeps me happy and healthy.
Yeah. And now over to Persia, it's me. My first thing for quite a long time, I'm very, 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 very big on gratitude lists, and they've completely transformed my perspective and my way of thinking, because I can so easily go into a little grumpy brat, as anyone who knows me will tell you, where I can find, I'm amazing at whinging about. I can find something to whinge about. It doesn't matter if everything is going perfectly, I will find something to whinge about. So straight in the morning, I either will just lie in bed for a minute and just go over everything I have to be grateful for, however small or big that may be. Sometimes, like often, it will be I've got a kind of actual book that I write these things down, but if I don't have time to do that, I'll just kind of say them out loud or in my head, which straight away changes my perspective. I've very recently got back into yoga and kind of pranayama breathing. I just a few weeks ago got back from India. I went with my mum and dad and boyfriend, and my parents are completely addicted to India, which we think is a good thing to be addicted to. And we stayed at an incredible retreat there, and it was just amazing doing yoga every morning and stretching. And because I used to do dance and ballet and things, it's nice to get back into that routine. It makes me feel really good in my body, and I love the kind of spiritual practice of yoga. I kind of see that almost as an act of like kind of an act of worship to God, and also like just a respect for my body, which is really important to me. And then, like Joey, kind of while I eat my breakfast and have my cup of tea, I will sit and do a daily reading. Me and Joey both got a little app on our phone. It's Melody Beatty's, what's it called? Codependency or Codependent No More or something like that.
So cool. But so good.
Yeah,
no,
so
it's called
good.
Letting Go, isn't
Letting
it?
Go, that's it.
What is it? This is an app?
Yeah, oh my gosh.
You'll love this, Katie.
Melody Beatty, it's called The Language of Letting Go, Daily Meditations on Codependency. But to be honest, I mean, they're applicable to most people from whatever walk of life. It's not, I mean, some of them are centered around codependency, but it's just healthy living and having a healthy attitude.
Yeah.
And that's great. So we both look at that every day as well. And yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that sounds lovely. And I love that you have them above your bed. How cool is that? What a good idea.
I can never forget.
That's beautiful. So the last question I want to ask you guys before we do some quick fire questions is this. So the name, as you guys know, of my blog and this podcast is The Wellness Wonderland. So when I offer that term to you guys, what does living in the wellness wonderland or a wellness wonderland mean to you? And what actions would you need to take to make sure that you're there every day?
Okay. Do you mean so is that sort of physically, emotionally, every
Yeah, however you want to interpret it, really.
I think for me, the Wonderland part is a sense of fun. There's something kind of a magical kind of feeling, and it's all, I don't know, I've just got this picture of like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, like, you know, the crazy fun factory, or like a roller coaster park, whatever they're called. And I think that there's a big sense of, like, I've always liked fun, and for me, fun used to be drink, drugs, kind of crazy relationships with men, things like that that weren't actually very good for me, and they left me feeling that short-term great, long-term horrendous. So I think that the Wonderland part is like, how can I have a sense of fun every day that doesn't have negative consequences? That's been like a really big learning curve for me. And actually, you know, I spend a lot of time with my best friend working towards a goal that is very fulfilling with Addictive Daughter. So that's kind of being in my wellness wonderland. It leaves me feeling useful and like I'm doing something good in this world. Doing yoga keeps my body in a good place. What
communication is a big one for me that I've really learned, and as Persia's touched on, working and spending so much time with your best friend and maintaining the friendship element is actually quite challenging. Brilliant challenge. But you know, we have to be so honest with each other and really make sure that resentment doesn't creep in, and I think that's, for me, it bleeds into all areas of life. Communication and boundaries. How do I keep myself well is by knowing what I will and will not accept from people, and not feeling bad about it. Actually, you know, I try to be kind, but I also know, you know, what's going to make me feel good and the people that maybe I need to take a step back from.
I think there's also there's just a simple question that you ask yourself at the beginning of the day that will change your day is instead of what can I get from today, what can I give today? In every situation that I go into, this is a kind of a big idea from Marianne Williamson. So go before a meeting, send your love, send your kind of prayers to everyone in that room, send your positive intentions and thoughts. And when you're in there, just what can I give? What can I, you know, I can be quite selfish at times and quite thoughtless. That's kind of my natural thing. I often will just, you know, can be quite selfish. And so I've learned, you know, the relationship that I'm in that's so healthy is because I have to keep reminding myself every day, what can I give him today? What can I say that's loving? What little things can I do? And you know, you have to remind yourself because it's so easy to forget. And I think finally also that to keep ourselves well, me and Joey, being addicted to the good stuff is great, and it has got a lot done for Addictive Daughter, but it can be so hard to stop working because we love what we do and it doesn't work. But we have to, you know, like, literally be in a conversation. We say to each other sometimes, okay, we're not allowed to mention Addictive Daughter for the next 20 minutes or half an hour. We're just going to be Persia and Joey friends.
So hard.
It's really difficult. And we just were talking today about having, you know, a day off on the weekend. And I said, okay, we should have one day off. And Joey said, no, we should have two. And I was like, but because like that would mean not doing anything for it. Like I can't get my head around that. And so it's having boundaries of going, okay, we don't want this to turn into workaholism now.
Yeah.
Because there has to be, for us to stay sane and not get burnout, we have to look after ourselves.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I can totally relate to that because again, when you are in line with your purpose, even though you are doing work in the world, it's such good work that it doesn't feel like work to you. And that's the true test that you're doing it right, that it is really your purpose. But that balance of, okay, maybe I don't need to write 10 blog posts or do this right now, even though it's fun for me. Maybe I just need to be a person and read a book, something nonfiction, you know, and so, or fiction. So anyway, so it's nice to know I'm not the only one that struggles with that.
Yeah.
So, okay, so now I want to do some quick fire questions with you to wrap. So just say the first thing that comes to your mind for these. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay, favorite colors?
Blue.
Pink. No, it's not. It's red. It's red.
Red. Favorite beauty ritual?
Daily
Bathing ritual.
Beauty
Sorry?
ritual.
Beauty ritual. Do you know what? I'm going to be really honest. I am one lazy bitch when it comes to this. I barely, I was about to say I barely wash. No, I wash, but a bit of moisturiser, that's about it.
Really? That was Persia. That was Persia who said that. I do wash. Joey does wash. I would say probably exfoliating. I really enjoy smooth skin.
Nice. Favorite day of the week?
Saturday.
Saturday for Persia. Joey, Monday.
Favorite hour of the day?
I say 7 a.m.
Oh God.
Yeah,
I'd say 11 a.m. for Joey.
Favorite vegetable?
Butternut squash.
Yeah. For both?
I'm going to go sweet potato.
Okay, Joey's butternut squash.
Yeah, I'm in that same family of each other. Favorite fruit?
Mango. Easy.
Yeah, ditto.
Yeah, I'm so good. Favorite ways to relax at the end of the day?
I do like a good bath. Also, I like a bit of the Kardashian show. Is it really off? And I go, not in self-help world anymore.
Oh, do you know what? My way to relax, this is Joey, my way to relax is to watch vlogs, other people's vlogs. That's not probably the best way, is it? But that's my way of winding down. I like watching other people speak.
Yeah, I do too. It is. I can get lost on YouTube for hours.
TED Talks is amazing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You guys will be up there. We'll be up there, all three of us together someday.
Yeah.
Who is the funniest person you guys know? Are you gonna say Russell Brand?
No, we don't know him, sadly. Like, we don't know to say, but we know. I think my mother, my mother, my father, and my sister, actually, and my boyfriend, I'm very lucky. They are all the most inappropriate people I have ever met, and they are all kind of the most immediate people to me. Joey is also absolutely hilarious. The more you get to know her, the funnier she becomes. But she doesn't realise she's being funny, which is the gold.
That's the sad part. For me, I really don't realise. Oh God, I don't actually know if I know any funny people.
Hello,
really. Persia. I'm gonna say
Thank
Persia.
you.
I'm not really sure. Yeah, Persia's pretty funny.
What superhero power, if you guys could have a superhero power for a day, what would it be?
I think it would be really boring, like productivity, just to get like everything done in one day.
To travel around London, like in super speed, because transport for London is just
or be flying, or like no that where you can get somewhere really quick, because then we could be sitting with you doing this.
Yeah.
Katie,
oh, that would be so fun. We could all be like cuddling and eating butternut squash and mangoes,
and then watch some TED Talks.
That's it.
That would be lovely. That would be amazing. We could even exfoliate. What is your favorite vacation spot?
Well, I've just got back from mine. It's the Ananda Spa in the Himalayas in India. You cannot beat it. Incredible.
Amazing.
That's perfect. And my favourite one is my parents actually recently bought a little villa in France, and it's very simple, but it's just a really nice place to go. Cheap flights, nice warm weather in the south of France, and it's always a little retreat for me, and Persia and I go out there and sort of do a little bit of work out there and have a little bit of a sunbathe, and
get inspired.
It's a really good place to go, so that's mine.
They both sound lovely. Can I come?
Of course you can.
What is your favorite on-the-go snack?
Dried mango.
These are meant to be quick fire. I'm going to say cashew nuts.
Both sound good. They'd be good together, like a little trail mix. Mm-hmm. What is your favorite breakfast? Do you guys have the same thing for breakfast every day?
You like porridge?
Yeah, I like porridge. But do you know what? I actually got this off Joey's sister. I like porridge oats cold with like coconut milk or almond milk or whatever it is. It's actually, people never think of having porridge cold, but it's actually for refreshing breakfast. Yeah.
I quite like, if I'm really making an effort, scrambled eggs, smoked salmon, and avocado.
Yeah,
but that's not a daily practice. But I really do enjoy that.
That they all sound amazing. What is one food that you guys usually every day? You're probably gonna say mangoes.
Mango, yeah.
avocado. Joey eats an avocado
we
a day.
love our avocados.
Yeah.
We're obsessed by them.
Yum. They're the best. What about your favorite movies?
Oh my goodness me. Oh, Bridesmaids, I think, is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. It's such a weird movie, but it's great. That's kind of the laugh out loud. But Stand By Me, another.
Do you know, I was just thinking that.
So tuned in.
Yeah,
Stand By Me. Amazing. Love it.
You guys are so cute. I can just feel your best friend energy. I'm loving it. What about your favorite books?
Oh my goodness.
Ooh, I'm reading a book at the moment called Half the Sky, How to Change the World.
Oh, it's amazing. Marie Forleo talks about it.
Yes, I think that's where I decided to order it because she recommended it, and I'm not even finished with it yet. It's it's probably not the most optimistic read in some people's opinion, but oh my gosh, does it make you really want to live your purpose and appreciate what you have and make a difference to other people? It's very moving.
Oh my gosh, it absolutely does. I even have a blog post on it, which I will put the link below for everybody, but it is amazing. It's an amazing documentary. You guys have to see the movie. It's really life-changing.
Did not know there was a film.
There's a movie.
Yes, there is. I will send it to you guys.
Fantastic.
I think for me, oh god, there's so many books. I did English lit at uni, so there's things like the classics, like The Great Gatsby, etc., which I love.
So good.
Kind of more, I'd say, an arty, self-helpy type, beautiful book. The Paulo Coelho books. 11 Minutes was a book that, I don't think it's one of his best known, but it is a really beautiful read, and it's one of those that makes you kind of see yourself, but it's told in such a beautiful way. So his books are great.
Nice. Do you guys have a favorite song to dance to or listen to?
oh gosh, to dance to. I don't know about dance to. I really like R&B. I'm a bit weird.
She likes a bit Beyonce.
I get kind of like, I like getting down and dirty. So I like going out and dancing to hip hop R&B. I'm
more of a kind of, I'd say more like indie,
a bit rocky.
A bit more rocky. But I can't think of anything that's come. Oh, King Charles. We love King Charles. Katie, you have to check out King Charles.
I love King Charles. Love Lust is like my favorite song ever.
Which one? Love Lust. Which one?
Isn't that one of their songs? I love that song.
Yeah. I can't believe that he's reached America.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe it's just my boyfriend found him, but I love that. That's so funny.
That's amazing.
I didn't even know it was British.
Yeah,
he's British. He goes to the church that I go to.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
My good friends. So I've met him a few times, and he has the most incredible hair that I've ever seen. And we've seen him live quite a few times. He's a brilliant show.
He's great show. And he's all about love, you know?
Yeah.
He's great music.
That is amazing. That is so cool. Well, you guys are great, and I just want to be your friends. This has been amazing. So is there anything else final that you guys want to say to Wonderland? Any advice to leave them with? And let them know where to find you.
You can find us at addictivedaughter.com, and what we would love is for you to subscribe to our Sexy Savvy newsletter, where we've got all sorts of treats and surprises in store. And you can just subscribe on the homepage of our website on the right-hand side.
Yep. Yeah. Just come and visit our website. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. We've got our YouTube channel, which is, we're adding videos by the minute. So just connect with us wherever kind of you feel inspired to. And we also just love hearing from people and, their experiences and how their take on Addictive Daughter. And, we're still very much in the learning stages of it. So we'd just like to hear from people and what they think and what they'd like to see and, all that. It'd be great.
Definitely. And maybe, Katie, we can come and visit you in the States and put on something over there at some point, because we definitely want to come to the States and do something good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That sounds amazing. So thank you guys so much for visiting, and thank you guys all for listening and getting all the way to the end. This has been such a great conversation. Thank you, everybody. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
You guys, that was so amazing. You guys are just cool. I want to just straight up be your friends.
Yeah, we are now.
Consider it done.
Done.
Awesome. Yeah, this was a blast. Thank you guys so much for doing this, and let's definitely keep in touch and brainstorm collaborations, because I think there's definitely some synergy here, and I would adore to be connected with you guys because I just think you're rad.
So good.
It was so much fun. Loved it.
You guys are so cute, and I love how you say my name. It's so adorable.
So, what's the time frame? Have you got kind of like a backlog of interviews to go out, or how does it work?
I do. I have a couple, so this probably won't be out for a couple weeks. Give me like 3 weeks to get it together, and then it'll be out. But I'll definitely let you guys know and send you guys links and tweet up a storm and such.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm so excited to open up everybody here to you guys, and I don't even know how we connected. I think we connected through Twitter. I think I saw your video, your like trailer video, which is so beautiful and well done, and I was just like, Gabby needs to see this, and I've actually been interning for her, so I like tweeted it to her right away, and then she saw it and retweeted it. So it was amazing.
She's coming to London, isn't she, in December?
I think she is. Are you guys going to go see her?
Yeah. I mean, we'd love to. We'd love to have a chat with her because her work is great. And it's weird, actually, the way it all happened. Because when we set up Addictive Daughter, it was literally 3 weeks after we came up with the idea that you found her, didn't you? And Persia sent me a website and said, oh my gosh, there's someone in America who is,
our mentor, one of our mentors, Sadie, who runs this amazing thing. You should check her out, called hipandhealthy.com. She said, oh, Persia, you're like, when she heard about what we were doing, she said, you've got to read this, Spirit Junkie. And that's how it began, isn't it, Gabby?
And so it was like, oh wow, there's someone in America who, it has a kind of similar, I guess, where she came from in terms of the destructive living. And
I think she has a background in acting as well, because I don't know if you've heard of that guy who loves the universe. We're really close to him, and Gabby mentors him, and so
who is it?
It's all like one. That guy that loves the universe, Sean Patrick, his name is, and he lives in England.
Oh, I don't even know.
I know that Gabby was I don't know if she's mentoring him anymore, but a couple of years ago she was helping him out with advising him on his thing. You should check him out. He's quite cool.
Yeah,
he's
that
English based.
Cool. Wow, yeah, that's awesome.
So
you guys mirror her story so much.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? There's definitely synergy between all of us, I think.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, it was so nice meeting you guys, and I really hope that we stay connected and just loop me in on everything. I sent you guys my my Ladies We Love interview, right? You guys have that?
We've got that, so that will be going up. I think, like you, we've got a few to go before.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
But I'll contact you with... I'll contact you so you can kind of okay it all and just check you're happy with the layout and everything before we promote.
Yeah, no, you guys can do whatever you want. I just wanted to make sure I sent it because I had it here in my desktop and I was like, oh no, did I forget to send that? So perfect.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure we've got it. I can double check, but I seem to recall getting one from you fairly recently, right? I think probably in the last couple.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Fab. So we're looking forward to getting that out as well. It's so great speaking to you, Katie.
Yeah, so great to speak to you guys too. We'll definitely keep in touch and have an amazing rest of your weekend. Okay.
Thank you. You too.
Lots of love.
Lots of love. Love you guys. Bye. Bye. Thanks for listening. You made it all the way to the end. I'll be back next week, but until then, let's stay inspired and keep this conversation going. So tweet at me at Katie Dalebout and our guest with your aha moments from this conversation. And like the Wellness Wonderland on Facebook, so we can all hang out there and discuss how inspired we are and how we'll apply it in our daily lives. And never miss another episode or post from me by signing up for email updates on thewellnesswonderland.com. See you back in Wonderland!